Hello and welcome to another show 96 of Arsenal Above All. I hope you're all feeling well 24 hours after what we saw yesterday. I've got some good people with me. I've got Neil, almost ever present Neil, who's won multiple caps, probably won about 80 of the 96. Good to see him back. We've got Kally returning as well. Thanks, Kally, for coming back. Neil and Kally were there yesterday, so they're to blame for what we saw. And we've also got
Kally's to blame.
More Neil.
Yeah. I've also got a debutant winning his first Arsenal Above All cap, but that's Deen. Great to have you on. Shame it's under these circumstances, but great to have your input as well.
Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. Great to have your input as well. And before we get into it, of course, let's run the intro. So let's go. Hello and welcome to Arsenal Above All. Deen, welcome along. How are you doing? Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Thanks for taking your time this Sunday evening to join us. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you very much. I appreciate being on here. I do watch it when Neil shares it for us. So I'm Deen. I've been a kind of a friend to Neil for 35 years now. We used to go back when it was the Highbury days.
Okay. And
a few away matches, like London matches, like Charlton and places like that. Okay. So that's really it about. I'm just a massive Arsenal fan. Love my team, even though we're doing badly. We're not actually doing badly.
But yeah,
that's a misconception. We're second. I mean, you can't say that's bad, but at the moment, play-wise, especially we've been playing bad.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that. But I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for joining us tonight. Also got Kally coming back for a second appearance. Sorry it's been so long to get you back on, but great to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having me again. I think it's like an annual treat now that I get to be on this podcast, which is always good to look forward to.
Oh, good stuff. No, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you. I also got Neil Shah, the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive, the Arsenal Jason Bourne. How you doing, man?
Shut up, Deen. Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks. I'm doing all right. Not too bad. Thank you for having me on. And it's great to have Deen as a debutant and Kally back. It's been brilliant. What a lineup! What a lineup, Michael. Good on you, mate.
Indeed, yeah. Let's get into it. Thanks, Neil, for coming on all of you. So let's get into it. Obviously, it was pretty disastrous yesterday, wasn't it? Absolutely abysmal performance. We thought we'd kind of see the back of those performances like that. But to be fair, there's been one or two this season where it hasn't really looked like we're firing on all cylinders, but we managed to get over the line, whether that was a set-piece goal or even Marino last week doing what he did, coming up with the goods. But I'll go to you first, Neil. What was your thoughts on what was your thoughts on just because you were there? Obviously, yourself and Kally were there, and I'll get your thoughts first. But what were your thoughts on just how yesterday transpired, the feeling in the stadium and everything? And because watching back home, it looked really flat. It looked like there was a lot of tension in the air, almost like people were remembering what happened last year with West Ham and what they did to us. But what was your thoughts in just going, and how it all transpired and why did it happen the way it did? Do you think it was a lineup again that was just, hindsight again, 2020, or do you just think it was just the attitude of the players? What do you think?
Well, for me personally, I was really buoyant leading up to the getting down to the stadium. I was full of positivity, energy, and I was really looking forward to it. I thought we were going to do them 3-1. I was full of. I was really looking forward to the game. And I thought we're going to put that pressure on Liverpool, which was so essential to do. And I think if we had done that, then the outcome today may have been slightly different, or it might have been a little bit more tricky for them. But once the game started, and lineup-wise, I mean, I don't think he could have done anything else, because with hindsight now, bringing on Merino when he did against Leicester, and let's not beat around the bush. The game against Leicester wasn't the prettiest and it wasn't the best, but we kind of forget about it because, you know, Mikel did that master stroke substitution, brought on Merino, and then, you know, the rest is history. So we kind of tend to forget that actually in the first half we weren't really that much better than we might have been yesterday. But with what happened, I don't think he could have done anything else, because the only other option was potentially, you know, start with Sterling again and go down that route. But I mean, I was still quite full of positivity. I thought, you know, Marino's going to bag another one, and Ethan's going to score a couple, and I thought it's all going to be all fun. And you know, initially, you know, the sun was shining. It was just a lovely day, and it set up the mood perfectly. And then when we got going, it's like the players were already thinking about their summer holidays, and I couldn't believe it, because, you know, like you said off air, we're playing for something. We're playing for the championship, and to pressure on. And like Deen said, you know, we're second. We're not doing that badly when you look at the position. And it's like all the players were abject as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what it was. I don't know whether they had a hangover from losing to West Ham, you know, last season at the Emirates at home. What was it? I just don't know. But they looked leggy. They looked demotivated. There was no energy. There was no zest. There was no fire. There was no intensity. There was nothing. And I actually don't think there was one decent player on the pitch for us, apart from maybe Raya. But, you know, there wasn't anyone that was going to go out there and try and do something. And I felt sorry for Ethan, because at the moment I am actually, you know, wax lyrical about him. But to put all that pressure on maybe one 17-year-old, I think is a little bit too much to ask. But I mean, going into it full of positivity, then as the game started, it just changed very, very quickly. And I think there was a lot of tension around where I was sitting. You know, we were all kind of muttering, you know, to ourselves, and then muttering to each other, saying what is going on and why are we not playing with a more of an attacking mindset. And it was the same old sideways, you know, not non-direct approach, and I hate it. I just don't understand why we approach games like this. But there we have it.
Yeah, I mean, as Neil touched on, obviously Deen mentioned just before we went live, Kally. You know, we're second in the table, obviously, and I think the stats before the game yesterday, we were 2 points off, or worse off than we were last year. So a lot of people were sort of saying, "Oh, you know, lack of a striker, what have you." But when you do the eye test, even though we are, you know, it seems like we're kind of even further back, you know, than 2 points off. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, you know, what do you think is to blame for that performance yesterday, and kind of the fall off generally over the season, especially with the injuries and everything as well? Do you think it's just a combination of lots of things that we were kind of worried about with squad rotation or whatever, the lack of, I should say, all coming together at the same time, and the lack of ambition in the transfer market? But what's your thoughts on, again, you know, on that performance yesterday, and just the reasons why we seem to be like off it, basically?
Yeah, so I think firstly that performance, there was a lot to take in. I think also like the players, the atmosphere wasn't that great, but I also think West Ham, I think they were professional in how they played in terms of defensively. They had everyone behind the ball, and attacking wise, they counter-attacked quite a lot, so that kept us open while we were trying to play forward. So I think generally we play really bad against those teams that have players behind the ball. I just don't think our attack or our flow plays well with that. I think in terms of what's to blame, it's hard to say because there's been so many different issues in this season. Obviously, we had the summer transfer window, which was okay, but not the best. I think the run-up of so many games throughout the weeks, we've had quite a lot going on. We've had a lot of injuries, not too much breaks. Obviously, we've had an illness breakout. We've had lots of changes in the team. We've had all the board changes behind the scenes as well going on. So, and then nothing in the January transfer market, which I think has probably dented our season a bit more. And obviously Kai Havertz being injured, we don't have any potential striking options. So I think there's a lot of pressure there's that pressure again that's on that team. You know, we had a really amazing season, you know, end of January last year and last season, and we had that unbeatable run. And again, this season, it just feels you want to go a next step ahead, which was try and win the league or try and win a trophy. But as you say, we've gone 2 steps back because of the injuries, and it feels like everyone's just super tired.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it seems like we've definitely taken a step back, even though, again, a lot of people point to the stats and XG and this and that, and we're overperforming it, and you know, being 2 points worse off than we were last year. But what do you think, Dean? Do you know, how do we fix it? Because obviously we were talking about the lineup, and everyone's been talking about obviously Marino playing as a 9. Do you think? Obviously, when Arteta first came in, he played 3 at the back, didn't he? When we won the cup that time, and then he changed it to when we had the first title run. We were playing a 4-2-3-1, weren't we, with Xhaka and Partey in the midfield? Do you think, you know, because just to kind of get over this situation, that a formation change might be a little bit better, because then he's not having that. He's in that way. He's kind of filling the midfield up with numbers, with players, and he's not putting all that pressure on that sort of one forward sort of thing. So he gets more bodies in there where he can maybe control the game a little bit more. I'm just trying to think of different ways, solutions we can get around it, because you've got a 17-year-old kid who, you know, we're trying to put all the sort of burden on a little bit. We've got a captain who's not doing that at all, who was awful yesterday. We'll talk about that later. But what's your take on just how we've been performing this season? Do you think it's the style of play needs to change? Do you think maybe the formation maybe needs to rejig that a little bit? Or is it just a case of getting certain bodies in, you know, especially in the summer now, because you have to be the summer now, because we didn't do anything in January. But what's your thoughts on just how we fix this?
Well, to be fair, I think that bodies needed more than anything.
Yeah,
we knew that in January. We knew a striker. I mean, I have to admit, I thought we could get away with not having a striker in January. I actually said to Neil, you know, we could get away with it. And I think Neil said, but what happens if one of them gets injured? I went, oh, that won't happen. And obviously it did. I suppose we could always rely on our under 21s again. I mean, it's worked perfectly for 2 positions with Skelly and Waneri.
Yeah.
Changing our formation this late in the season, it would be okay if we're trying to defend like points that were ahead, but to actually get points added on to catch Liverpool, I don't know if that would work. That's the problem I've got. I mean, and who we got? I mean, at the moment, defence-wise, we're packed. Yeah. We're packed defence-wise. Midfield, we're kind of hardly got anyone. I mean, we've got Partey, we've got Rice, Genio. He can still play there, but after that, there's not much in the midfield. Yeah, as we can say up front, there's no one, and I'm not even sure. Is Nowhere injured? I know he's taken yesterday.
Yeah, there's a worry that he pulled something, or he was limping off, so he's not sort of come forward with that. But I don't think he dared to at the moment, because everyone will just lose their minds if he's out again.
I mean, even Rice, I heard he went off injured as well.
Yeah, you'd hope he did, because you think that if he's taken him off after 56 minutes and he's our set piece taker, and that's probably the most likely way we were gonna score yesterday, from a set piece, you know, really, and he's taken him off and he's not injured, then that's a big thing for me. If that's what he's done, if he's done that out of a point of principle, to say like him and Calafiori were at fault for the first goal. But sorry, Dean. Yeah, you was going on. You were saying, sorry.
Well, even what you're saying there, I mean, it's a possibility that we're so sort of hardly got anyone that a slight niggle, they're going to take a player off now, just so he's not going to be injured for about 2 or 3 weeks. So possibly that Rice thought, I've got a little niggle, better come off just in case. If I play any more, I could be out for 3 weeks. Same, hopefully, with Neri as well. There's a little niggle, come off. We'll put someone else in. Hopefully, you're better the next for the next game, or if not, for at least the weekend anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, that could well be a good point. Because it's funny he plays Zinchenko in midfield, and we've been sort of asking. A lot of people have been saying, "Well, why don't you try him there?"
Yesterday.
Yeah, why don't you try him there? And he hadn't, and he did yesterday. But a question I'll ask all of you, just because of what's happened over the summer, because obviously, over January, the January window, Arteta came out and said, he wanted a player. Rice came out and said that he, really, hope that they get somebody in. I'll come to you, Neil, first. Do you think because of January and everything what's happened with the injuries and stuff, and especially the one that happened to Martinelli and then Havertz whilst they were out in Dubai, do you think, and this could be the reason what happened, why the atmosphere was like it was yesterday? Do you think the players and the fans have kind of subconsciously checked out, of the rest of the season because of what we've got ahead of us, because of who we're chasing, because of Liverpool, because of what they did today? There was hope that they would have dropped points, but we saw what they did today. And then the Champions League draw as well. There was a hope of, this could be our year to do it. We could go in a deep run. But then when you see the route to the final, and who we're going to play, do you think there might have been some sort of semblance of that? Because I'm pretty sure that we're all in WhatsApp groups, and we have we probably have a work one that you have in and you chat about stuff. I'm pretty sure the players have one. I think it's been on record that the players have one. I'm pretty sure that they've had conversations about the demand, the schedule, what they've had to deal with, and everything like that, and maybe some gripes and grievances they've had to share in there. And I'm pretty sure they would have been saying, let's hope we get somebody in, or I can't believe we haven't got anyone in. And they just maybe feel a little bit let down. And we all feel a little bit let down that we've had an opportunity there. We knew we needed to get a little bit more help, and we haven't had that. Do you think that subconsciously has played a part, maybe just in how we approached it yesterday, and just that sort of, the apathy that you kind of felt yesterday, in the stadium? Or do you think it was the circumstances? West Ham just came in with a good structure, and we just couldn't break it down.
I see it two ways. Firstly, what Kally alluded to was correct about how West Ham play. They set up very, very professionally, and that caused a problem. But that doesn't take away from our actual performance. We can still play well. Doesn't matter how well the opposition team sets up, I guess. And then also another point that Kally made, which is great, was the fact of the issues with the football director, and I think that's a major thing. Now I see more of this. It seems like there has been some kind of friction, possibly between Arteta and Edu, a personality clash or a visionary clash, something along those lines. And maybe Edu wanted to go in one direction and Arteta didn't want to take that route, because for him, the way he just left literally overnight, packed his bags, I'm out, that just doesn't seem right to me. Something has gone down, and that is ridiculous, because our club, it's proven. I mean, Wenger did an amazing job without David Deen. Even, I know we fell off a little bit from where we were, but Wenger still managed to do what he did, taking control of literally everything. If we're going to ask Arteta where is his first ever job at one of the biggest clubs in the world, I think that's ridiculous. We need to get someone with a very good and keen footballing mind up at the top, and someone with a lot of influence and a lot of sway, where he'll say, this is the person that we need in this position, and we're doing everything to get him, and I don't care if it costs another 20 million quid to do it. So something like that, and he's got to be persuasive and tell Arteta that you focus on the pitch, mate. I'm taking charge of this. You focus, something like, I mean, I don't know. None of us are privy to what goes on behind the scenes, but in a normal, I suppose, business structure, I think that's kind of how it would work: a segregation of duties, so that no one person is overwhelmed with having to deal with everything. In terms of the fans, I think we may have been more subdued because we were tense, knowing that this was a very important game to win, because it was a very important game to win to close the gap on Liverpool. I think initially then we might have been a bit flat because we were all a little bit tense and a bit worried. I mean, we know that West Ham can hurt us, and then of course we are plagued with injuries, so that's playing on our minds as well. But in terms of the players, I see it two ways as well. On one hand, I agree with you. We're all human beings. We're all going to have this kind of. You got to remember, most of them are kids. Let's not, they're kids. I certainly could be old enough to be their granddads. So, at the end of the day, I mean, I would be shocked and stunned if they don't have a WhatsApp group, and they're not like, hang on a minute, why didn't we get this person in? What the hell? Rice actually came out in public and said we needed someone. Yeah. So then I'm pretty sure that there's going to be discussions behind the scenes amongst them. So, of course, by nature, you're going to be rattled by that. But also then I look at it from a different angle, and I think you guys are paid an extortionate amount of money per week. You are professional, and you still got to get on with it, no matter what. Yeah. I'm sure all of you have had it in your own jobs where, someone's gone off leave, someone's gone on sick, and then you got the pressure of like 3 or 4 other roles, and you can't hide. You've got to do it, because otherwise it's going to come back down on you, even though it might not be your part of your remit. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not making any excuses for that performance on that pitch. That was abysmal, right? Yeah. I don't care how well West Ham set up. We have to turn up as well, because we are fighting for the league. We are fighting for the league, and I'm sick of every season. It's the same old thing. Oh, we were just a bit short because of this. Oh, we were a bit short because we didn't get those extra 2 players in. And it's the same old rinse and repeat every goddamn season for the last 20, 25 years. Yeah. And it's getting boring now, right? So this club better step up in this summer transfer window, a complete overhaul, and start having a new culture and a new kind of policy in place to make sure that we are going to be the club that we're supposed to be and represent with that badge that everyone wears on their chests. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we better start showing up now, because it's getting boring and it's getting frustrating and ridiculous. Oh, hello?
Sorry, my internet's playing up. Is everyone still there?
Yep, still here.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you lose me?
Oh, I was in I don't know. I think it might be my end.
Yeah, we heard you.
My connection's flagging up. Okay. Showing fine now. So right, I've had some issues with it. So
maybe it was a good thing, because I was getting upset, so I'll just shut up now.
That's weird. Hang on a sec. Let me turn this off. Might be that. So yeah, sorry. Can you hear me? Or are you still there? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, Neil. It's, the players have a job to do. They should do it. I just think maybe it's a combination of the last 3 seasons and what we've had to do. It's kind of caught up with us. What do you think, Kally? Do you think it's pretty much, checked out a little bit, or do you think?
I think it was just a tough game. Been thinking, because the home games that I've been to, that's probably a hard defeat to take, because my last defeat for a Premier League game was Villa last season. But since then, it hasn't been too bad. But I just couldn't get over the atmosphere, because I've been to the Spurs game last month. I went to the City game earlier this month. A City game was amazing. The atmosphere was great. We riled everyone up. I went to the Wolves game away. I went to the Leicester game last week. I was like, they want to fight. When the goals went in, everyone was passionate. Everyone really wants it. I just think we've also got to remember, we had a full 11 that's played consecutively week on week, because it's hard to get that formation where we've been hit by injury or we've been hit by a red card. That consistency in the team, I don't think we've had in the season. And obviously the last few months, we are just seeing the cracks coming out now, because I think I was saying a few weeks ago that we're due a loss. Unfortunately, it's come yesterday, but we are due a loss. But we've had these high expectations that, we're ready to compete for the league. We need that trophy. It's just a shame it's come this season, where City are having a poor season. Liverpool are having a great season and consistency, even though Arne Slot has taken over Klopp's team. But it's like, where are our reinforcements coming from? I think everyone's trying to do what they can do, but it's just going to be more tougher. But are we there now, just kind of looking at our prospects and focusing on the Champions League, because we could actually do better in that? So it's hard to know.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about the Champions League again, because it's just the fact that we haven't got any other options. Up front, we've got a kid, from the academy, Nathan Butler-Deji, and he's not getting any sort of kind of looking at all. And you kind of think, what does that kind of do to him? When he doesn't even get maybe like a 5-minute sort of or 10 minutes, to come and do something. I know he came on against who was it against? He came on. Was it Zagreb? I think he came on, and he came on for literally the last kick of the game. And he tried to get him on, and so you kind of wonder what that does to him. I know we're playing high stakes here, but what's your thoughts, Dean, on that? I mean, is it just a straightforward thing that we get everyone fit and everything will be fine? If you go back to what Arteta said last season at the end of the season against Everton, when he said it's time to take a break, think, reflect, and please keep pushing, keep inspiring this team. He's talking to the fans, and he said, "Don't be satisfied because we want more than that, than this." What's changed? Because obviously we go back to the summer where we didn't really do anything. The January we didn't do anything. Did we kind of take it for granted somewhat, the way Liverpool were going to be in a transitional period? A lot of people were saying, Slot's going to come in, it's going to take him a couple of seasons to sort himself out. Liverpool were top this time last season and they fell away, so really it's just between us and City, and then obviously maybe thinking that City we're going to have a drop off. Do you think we kind of maybe took our eye off the ball a little bit and thinking, we're kind of okay here? Or do you just think it's just a case of we've just been hit with these suspensions and injuries and totally derailed us?
That's really what us fans hope. Yeah. As a professional team, Arteta should be saying, don't worry if Liverpool got a new manager. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We're just going to take it and hope that, Liverpool are going to continue what they kind of did at the end of last season. So you can't actually turn around. We as fans can say that. I mean, we say things all the time, but as a professional club, we should not be hoping that Liverpool aren't going to do well and that Man City are going to start to lose games. We should be looking at our own team and thinking, we can win this league. Let's not worry about anyone else. We just go and win games.
Yeah.
That's what, and I think Arteta would have said that. But the injury crisis, I mean, I don't think I've seen an injury crisis like this with our club before. Not with literally all in the same position. And we're not just talking about first team, we're talking about backups as well. This is the thing, the backups are injured. So that is, and literally our best player, Saka. But going forward, if we can get to the international break, we should be fine. I mean, I've heard Saka's going to be back, Martinelli's going to be back. So that's two extra people. And Saka, of all people, that's the one we need the most. But even with Martinelli, I mean, it's going to rest players. They can change formations up front as well, which is going to be helpful as long as we can get to the international break. And just hope that if Saka's back, he's not going on international break. There's no one out to go on international for England and he gets injured again.
Yeah, that is the worry. That is the worry that he gets back, and then we'll sort of okay, England, you can have him for playing in 2 meaningless games. I kind of hope with Thomas Tuchel he won't be that way inclined. I think he'd be a bit smarter.
I think we've lost him.
He'll understand. He'll kind of understand where club managers are coming.
Is it my?
I don't know. Kally, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Playing up to me.
Okay.
It's my
sorry, my internet's playing up tonight. I don't know what's going on with it. It's really strange. But you've got a couple of questions that are coming, or got a couple of comments that have come in. So thanks very much. Bernadette, who says she's watching live for a change. Thanks, Bernadette, for joining us. Talking about there's no excuses. There was a break in Dubai, which is true. The last couple of transfer windows have been poor. Yep, absolutely. Brian, hi Brian. We've become predictable, which leads to us being sterile. Injury is definitely an issue, but it's about digging deep and getting results by any means necessary. If you can't win, don't lose. Yes, absolutely. Bernadette, micromanaging set plays, takes ages to take a free kick, corners and throw-ins. It's very, very, everything's slow, isn't it? Everything we kind of do is really, really slow. But our top players we need to. So this is what I was going to come on to for all of you, really. So let's say things don't pan out as we don't expect them to. I'll come back to you, Dean. This are we kind of in the end game now for Arteta and this project? I hate calling it a project, but this project, because of his contract runs out in 2027. Saliba's, Gabriel's, and Saka's runs out in 2027. So that is next season, basically. So next season will be the 25-26 season. So then after that, you'll have 1 year left. And at that point,
when you can sign people on a freebie,
you really need to either nail people down now with a new extension, or if you leave it to that year, then you're basically gonna those players are gonna go. What do you feel? What's your concerns about that? I've got a very big concern that Real Madrid are going to come in really heavy for Saliba this summer, just because of the issues that they've got at centre back. Do you think this season coming, Arteta has to deliver some kind of trophy, just to kind of keep this team together before they sort of break up? That's always the worry, right? Because you said before, I mean, we've been Arsenal fans for a long time, and we've been to the top. We've seen things go really well, but we've also seen players go when the club kind of haven't kind of shown the ambition that we want them to show. So Henry went because he wanted to win the Champions League. Van Persie left. Fabregas left. Are you kind of worried that might happen again, Dean, or do you think how important next season is going to be?
I think there's a different mentality now. I mean, yes, Arteta, we've come second. We're going to finish probably second this season as well. To be fair, considering that we've had Man City, who has probably been the best team the world has seen since the good old Real Madrid days, Barcelona types, to come second to them is no disrespect. Okay, we should win a trophy, but this season, I don't think we're going to. We've got the Champions League, like you've already said. All right, we've got PSV, then possibly Real Madrid, then possibly Liverpool, and then possibly Barcelona in the final. I mean, that is a hard route. Yes, you've got to beat the big teams to win it, but I don't think we're at that level yet. I think we beat PSV. We could be lucky against Real Madrid and Liverpool, but I can't see it. I think we'll go out in the quarters at least.
Yeah.
And the league's over. So I think we just have to sit at this season and think, right, finishing second is respectable, get as much as we can in the Champions League, generate money, go in the summer. And if all the rumours are true, is it Zubin? I forgot his name.
Zubimendi.
Zubimendi, yeah. He's meant to be nailed down. And I've heard Sesko has told his friends at the football he's going to be playing for Arsenal next season. I mean, that's two players that will benefit us.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's also, we need to have you're worried about Saliba. Yeah, I agree. If they come in with 100 million, 150 million for Saliba, our heads are going to turn. But if we go in straight away, start buying players before that happens, Saliba might think, right, I can see what we're doing with this club. I'm going to give it another year at least. See what happens, see if we win trophies. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to put our foot down and say, right, we're buying some of the best players in the world now to compete, and players will stay.
Yeah.
That's the thing, players will stay. But the only problem is, like Neil's already mentioned about and the director, I mean, I heard rumours in the winter, in this January, that Ollie Watkins was offered to us for 65 million. Which Arteta actually said, let's get him. And we offered 40 million.
Yeah.
I mean, so whose fault is that? Is it Arteta's fault? Or is it the Bull's fault? Or is it because we didn't have a managing director to be the in-between, to say, right, leave this with me, I'll do what I can?
Yeah. I heard that the issue was his age, and they were worried about one of the things that I know. One of the things I hate, which I'm going to say, is people talking about sell-on value, and that's what the club have kind of really focused on ever since they came in and sort of cleaned up the mess of what Raul Sanelli did with the Pepe deal and stuff like that and everything. And when was the last time we sold anyone for good money? And I think that's been an operating thing. There's something key that the club have kind of wanted to do moving forward. And yeah, you're right. I kind of think they maybe made that offer to us because they wanted Al Nassr to move their deal along for Duran and to get them to pay money. And they basically played us, really. So they probably never had any intentions of selling them to us. And maybe that's why we went in for that lower offer, because it was just basically to get Al Nassr to move along and say, okay, look, we better just pay them the money for Duran and get him out, because Duran's very disruptive in character. And I think Emery just rather would have went with Watkins for the rest of the season than him. But yeah, I mean, I'm gutted. I would have loved to have Watkins. I think he's an Arsenal fan. It would have been a great story. We would have had someone, playing their heart out for the rest of the season.
Fan as well.
Yeah. What about you, Kally? What do you think of the whole situation, and especially as Deen said, going into the summer, and obviously how big the season to come is going to be, how vital it is that we get the sporting director sorted out and make those signings that we need to make to get the players back on side, knowing that we're going to make a big push, and the fans as well. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, it's business versus passion. Like, the fans were all passionate about Arsenal, but that Arsenal's also a brand and a business. But without a sporting director, do we have a vision? Do we have the end goals that we want? So, and it all kind of channels and funnels down to the players, and then the staff and Mikel as well. And you can probably see that on the pitch. Like, it is every game going now that we don't know what we're going to get. And I think, as you say, if Saliba does go, it will be a heartbreak, because he's got that great sense, like that partnership with Gabriel. Yeah. And, we're slowly now getting a back four that can actually gel together, work together. And that's kind of been, the foundation going forward. Like, we finally have a good defence, a structured midfield, and we can try and play. Now it's just trying to create that attacking flow and the play together, which we really are missing. And I think this summer is definitely going to be huge. I think I think the injuries have just cost us quite a lot over the last few months. We've got Ben White back. I was excited to see him yesterday for sure. Seeing Zinny in the midfield was actually quite refreshing, because he played quite creatively all over the place, and I think that suited him more. But yeah, I think we definitely need reinforcements in the summer. It has to be a big summer, because if we go again with that same mentality and we come second again next season, I think we're just like, why are we not pushing? What are we missing? And yeah, we want the league. It's been forever since we've won the league. And obviously Champions League, we want to fight with the big clubs in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and great. It was to see Ben White yesterday. And he almost scored, didn't he, with that shot at the end? It would have been great if he tucked that in. But I just thought his play, just the way he was playing, doing his overlaps and stuff like that, it was great to see. I do love Timber, but I do think Timber holds onto the ball a little bit too long sometimes when we're attacking, and that sort of just puts the brakes on things a little bit. But it can be interesting to see how he manages that now. He seems to be getting fullbacks back all over the place, but just no attackers. A couple of more comments. So I've got Mac, who was on the last show. January transfer window was like the middle of a disaster movie. We knew what was coming, and we were shouting at the screen for the right decision to be made, and it wasn't. And then the disaster. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know what's happening with my internet today. I paid for it. So I don't know why it's doing that. But one more year is all the good well left. I believe Arteta has with the fans. Yeah, I think next year is a massive year because of the contract situation. Brian, obviously a regular on the show. Liverpool result has basically said to Arteta, we will need to invest in the summer. But if you don't win anything next season, we will find someone who will. Yeah. And Mac again, the bosses will be happy with the trophy. They won the Super Bowl and the hockey ones. They will only act when the fans turn like they did with Emery, though he took us to the Europa League final. I think it's going to be the performances. I think it was the performances as well, wasn't it? With Emery, you know, the players looked like they literally stopped playing for him, didn't they? In those last couple of games, and I think that's when it gets like that. And I think Arteta will be in trouble. But I do think, you know, as Neil, you've all said, we've got to get the sporting director announced as soon as possible. And the Real Sociedad sporting director, was my internet gone again? Yeah. If wave if you can still hear me, because I don't know what's going on with this. Yeah. Hi Neil. Cheers. I think Alabi. I would recruit Alabi basically because he squeezed a couple of extra million out of us for Marino, which when you think what we bought him for, I think that's he done an excellent job on us to squeeze that extra couple of million out when he was available on a free like in the summer. So I think it'd be someone like him, and then we basically have to have an amazing summer, get the players in. I heard that Martinelli could be sold in the summer, but it depends on what Trossard does. If Trossard signs his extension, he's not signed it at the moment, but if he signs a contract, then he will stay, and Martinelli will be sold. But if Trossard doesn't, Martinelli will be kept, and Trossard will be sold. So I don't know what you guys feel about that, because I think we try to Nico Williams in. I think there's a big thing about that. You know, obviously his transfer release clause is quite small considering, but we definitely have to get the bodies in early. I think, as you said. Just before we go on, we need to talk about him because we don't know what's happened. But what Neil? What's happened to Martin Odegaard? What's happened to his? You know, his aura or whatever. Why is he? Do you think he's carrying an injury still? Do you think something behind the scenes has gone on? Why he's performing like he did? There was an incident at the end. You were there when we had the free kick with about 10 minutes to go, and I couldn't understand what the hell was going on. Where everyone was lined up to cross it in, and he plays it short to Saliba, and Saliba doesn't even know that it's coming. You know, and then he has to play it back. What the hell's going on with him? I know some people are absolutely giving him an absolute kicking on socials and saying he should be stripped to the captaincy and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. Arteta puts too much faith in him. But James is saying, Martin Odegaard is more unsteady as my internet. It's pretty much the case. I know. I don't know what's going on tonight. But what's happened with Odegaard? What do you think is the problem? Is it as simple as he's missing Saka?
I don't think it's as simple as he's missing Saka. I mean, Saka and Ben White and Odegaard were brilliant down that right wing when they're all ticking with their triangles and Ben White doing his overlaps. It was magic. I mean, I don't know whether Odegaard's a bit of a player that's fine tuned in the sense that everything has to be correct for him to tick perfectly or what. There's so many reasons that you can think of. He's recently become a father. I don't know whether he's been asked to do all the night duties and changing nappies and the feeds and all the rest of it. It could be a case of that he is still carrying the injury. Maybe we brought him back too soon because we needed him in there, being the conductor and the orchestrator that he normally is when he's on song. But it just seems to have become not just what he does in terms of his on-pitch performances, but even the way he looks a lot more. He looks like he's lost weight. It doesn't look well to me, and I don't know whether that's because he's in pain when he plays. It's a very difficult one, and we can just throw out loads of reasons, and there's a lot of speculation around it. But I don't think we're ever going to really know the true reason. The point is, it's just affecting the team, and I think you summed it up with that free kick, because that for me was the epitome of what he represented yesterday. It's just not him. It's just like ever since he's been back from that injury, it's just like he's just not been himself at all. Yeah, there's a few moments that he shows his old self, and you think, wow, that was brilliant. I mean, I think the white chance was from a back heel from Odegaard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So things like that, he's still got it, and we know he's got it. But the free kick, that was the most bizarre thing. And that now you go back to Rice. Now, if Rice had been a tactical substitution, that makes it even more nonsensical, because it should have been Rice taking that free kick and delivering it on point. But the other thing about Odegaard, and you guys have talked about it on the WhatsApp chat, is and one thing that we're all kind of scratching our heads over, is he's a very, very good finisher of a piece, a move, and to score a goal. He hasn't got the power, but he's got the precision, and he's done that on many occasions. And now he's almost like, has he lost self-belief? Has he lost confidence? Because he's reluctant to do that now. It's almost as then he looks for another pass, or he does one of those silly, let's kind of loop the ball over the defender's heads and hope someone gets on the end of it. And you just think that's all a bit too much. I've always said about ever since I've been watching football that I like sometimes a bit of a direct approach where players are running at defenders, they're going through the middle. And I think that always can scare some defenders, especially if you've got a few players with a bit of pace, because then it kind of distracts them from all the wider players and the other players that might be going forward. And I just don't think we do it enough. We're just doing too much of this tippy-tappy stuff. And I know sometimes it's because the way that the defence set up, the way that they might have set up their tactics and their strategy of how they're going to defend against a team like us that can score beautiful goals. But at the same time, you've got to have a plan B and C, and that we're just bereft of that at the moment completely. Yeah, and that might be down because of lack of personnel and what have you. But it seems to me that all of that is affecting Odegaard, because he's like the centre, he's the linchpin of all of it. If you're the conductor and you've lost half of your wind playing section and your brass section and whatever else, it's hard to conduct what's left, isn't it? And it's difficult to maintain that. But I don't know. There could be a plethora of reasons, or it could be one single reason. The point is, he's just not himself at the moment, and I don't know what the solution is. I hope that something can, click and trigger, and we get our old Odegaard back for the remaining games of this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everything else looks all right. The pressing, he was doing that a lot yesterday, wasn't he, Kally? There was, situations where he was doing all of that stuff, but there were situations where he just wasn't, there when you needed him. There was another situation where Trossard broke down the left, and you probably might have seen it on socials as well, where he runs right over to the furthest part of the pitch. Like, he runs all behind the defenders, so he can't be picked out. It's like he doesn't stay in the middle or close to Trossard. Amanda Traore, the bodybuilder who plays for Fulham, the guy who uses all the baby oil and stuff like that. He's created more big chances this season than Martin Odegaard. I mean, this guy Traore can't play football. He's just a bodybuilder. He's a bodybuilder and a club bouncer. I'm sure he works the clubs around Fulham, around Craven Cottage when the games are finished. I'm pretty much sure you can see him down there on a Friday night. But he's created more, big chances than Odegaard. That's worrying, isn't it? That's really worrying. What do you think the issue is with him? Do you think he's carrying his injury still? People saying he's a father now, and maybe that's changes his outlook and things. What do you think it is? And do you think, obviously, he's another one that kind of needs that support, or another player to sort of come in and rotate? And all the guys that we had, ESR and Vieira, they've gone. So do you think that's the issue? Or what's your thoughts on it?
I think just the season itself has just been one of those up and down moments. Again, I think no one's ever the same when they come back from injury or illness. I don't want to say being a dad has its pressures in life, but it can affect it. There's always something going on. I did hear that he's turned vegan. So has he changed his diet? Has that had an impact? Has that happened? We don't know.
Oh no! You just reminded me of Bellerin. He fell off. He completely fell off when he turned vegan. Oh Christ, is that it? I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Kally.
Because I was seeing all those and I was like, please don't, like, regardless of his food choices, diet choice, that's fine. But has that affected his performances?
Yeah.
Is he getting all the nutrients he wanted? Again, he's lost his right wing men as Ben White and Saka. So has he had to change his way of play to adapt to the other people? But I think, but then also there's the pressures because he's been playing every single game. Again, we were having so many games every 3 days, and that can take it along without rotation. So again, this is just another, reason to say we need reinforcements in everywhere. Like, we should have kept ESR because he would have been great just for that change in rotation for it. Obviously, we've had Partey, who's not been too bad when he's played central. And with Rice and Odegaard. So that's kind of been quite nice to see all them three. But it just feels the magic in Odegaard is kind of missing to know where to play the balls. But hopefully if he gets Saka back, it changes. We don't know.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I've got a couple of comments. Say James, he's not happy with the discourse about Odegaard needing all the players to work. When he was out, Saka took the armband and the mantle and ran with it, which is true. Right now, he needs to step up and he's playing cowardly. I think there's the element of that. Martinelli is a one-trick pony. He has to go. Odegaard is carrying injuries and there's a massive lack of belief. The free kick is a classic example of whipping it in, and he does a half-assed pass. Yeah, it just couldn't work out that free kick. That was. James, bloody hell, the guy who bought all the Puff Daddies. You're gonna try and get this channel cancelled, James. I can't be saying stuff like that out loud. Just Puff Daddy's spare people has created more chances than any guy. Christ alive, I need to go for. yeah, I know it's unbelievable. He's I don't know. It's almost like he's trying to do too much, isn't it, Dean? He's like he's doing everything else, the pressing and everything like that, and then when we play these low blocks, it's like he just, it's 4 or 5 years in really with Arteta's team, like his proper team. Let's say 3 years from that first title run, and we always seem to have these issues against these teams with the low blocks and mid blocks, low blocks, whatever. On Wednesday, the spin it to Wednesday now, Dean. We're not going to play against. Are we going to play against a team like that, Forest? We know what they're about. They give everyone their possession, and then they try and hit us on the counter. We're involved in an unbelievable game today. What's your thoughts and fears about Wednesday? I'm worried about it.
I mean, Forest. They have an unbelievable season.
Yeah.
Out of every team in the league, they've had the best season of so far. Yeah, everybody can say Liverpool's going to win the league. But Forest, they're third. And they're beating the top teams as well.
Yeah.
They're there on merit. So to play them away as well, it's away, isn't it?
Yep, away. We beat them 3-0. We beat them 3-0 at the Emirates. And
we beat West Ham 5-6-2, 5-0. It's going to make no difference to score lines in the pre games. Yeah. I'm worried about... I thought we beat West Ham, and then I was more worried about the Forest game.
Yeah.
I was more worried about Forest than the Chelsea and the Man U games, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I'm very worried about Wednesday game. Liverpool got Newcastle as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
So I can't see Newcastle are up and down this season, so I think Newcastle probably going to lose points against Liverpool. So I think for us, we have to be outstanding against Forest, and I just can't see it. Going back to Odegaard. I think also he misses Havertz. Havertz can play in that pocket as well, you see, so he kind of shifts around their positions. He's not there anymore to do it. I think Trossard would help, but if I had to choose, going back to the previous question you had about Martinelli or Trossard, Martinelli for me. That could be more of a bias because I've always liked Martinelli, but age comes into it as well.
Yeah.
Trossard's about 30, 31. He's not going to have many years left at Arsenal. Martinelli will have a longer spell at Arsenal, and I just think he just needs... Some games he plays brilliantly, some games he hasn't, but he's got still time behind him. But I think with Odegaard, he's missing those type of players, and I think on Wednesday We don't know what's happening with Neri. We don't know what's happening with Rice. We could be those two down, at least one of them down. Forest are going to rip us apart.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't agree.
I'm sorry to say, but they're going to rip us apart.
Yeah,
I'll be cheering us on, hoping for a win, but
yeah. We kind of get away with a draw now. I think now it's a case of just securing Champions League football next year. It's looking likely that it's going to be 5th place that will get you in. I mean, I can't believe we're saying this, but it could be 5th place that can get you in to the Champions League next year. But I think pretty much the result today, Liverpool have got 11 games left, and 7 of those. Sorry,
they played a game more.
Yeah, they've played 27. So they've got 11 games left, and 7 of them are at home. So it's done. Basically today was it. It's done. And then they've got to play us 3 games before the end, and it's likely that we'll probably have to give them a guard of honour. Which makes me sick. When I realised that, I was a bit sick in my mouth.
I was expecting 1989 all over again. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, that would have been beautiful.
But it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it's likely we're going to have to give them a guard of honour before that game. That's if they sort it out by then. It'd be great if we could maybe prolong it so we don't have to do that. So they may have to win their next game to maybe to seal it. But it's likely that they're going to do it. With a few games to go. I do want to sort of finish, but I just wanted to say thanks, Neil, for introducing me to Kally and Deen. Really enjoyed it. Apologies for the connection problems. It's never happened before in how many shows that we've done. Neil will vouch for that. I don't know why. Pretty strange. But Kally, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I hope you come back on again soon in better circumstances and maybe see how things go in the next couple of weeks. And try and bring some luck next time you're at the Emirates, if you can, you and Neil, please.
She's actually been really good. She normally does, to be fair. But she ruined it yesterday, so that's why I said it was all her fault.
I think we were too optimistic, too positive.
We were very positive before the game, yeah. Both of us were very positive. But look, we're still winning the doubles. Don't worry about it. It's still on. Mathematics. I'm not giving up. I ain't giving up. We're going to smash Forest. You go wait and see. Stupid Arsenal will go and do something stupid and beat Forest now.
We'll beat Forest. Newcastle will beat Liverpool. Game on.
Yeah, game on. Come on, that's the spirit, Deen. Now
there we go. We've got to believe to the end, as they say.
Then we beat PSV, beat Real Madrid, beat Liverpool, beat Barcelona. There we go. Champions League all out.
Oh, I tell you, the dream would have been to play Barcelona again.
Yeah,
with 11 men, and actually turn them over this time.
The dream's still on, Michael. The dream's still on. Don't discount it. We're not out
yet.
So
there we go. This is it. 1989 Anfield is going to happen again. 2006 Champions League reversal.
Come on, let's go, Michael. Let's go. Let's finish.
Yeah, there we go.
Deen, that is a great shout. I like that.
Yeah, I love I love what you're drinking, Deen.
It's water.
Oh, nice one. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I love it. No, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for all the comments in the chat. Really appreciate everyone's support. I'm gonna go and unplug or stop leeching from the neighbour's internet connection, and we'll see. Hopefully, have a better show next time in terms of it. So apologies for that, but thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the week, and as always, come on, you Reds.
Yes.
Newcastle, the central figure again, and he looks to trick Michael.